Many plants attract their pollinators with pleasant, sweet-smelling flowers, but this one is a little different. The insects that pollinate this giant inflorescence are more attracted to the smells of a rotting carcass than to that of a rose. Let's dig deeper. I'm Tom, I'm the Display Conservatories Manager here at the Royal Botanic Gardens Kew. The thing that makes the Titanarum so well known is that it produces this humongous inflorescence. It's also renowned for smelling absolutely foul. The flowering of one of these plants is a fairly seldom occurrence, and it happens only once or twice a year here at Kew Gardens. As this inflorescence develops, the spathe will begin to open, and inside it reveals a corrugated, flesh-red surface. It's at this moment that the flower starts to produce a hideous smell of rotting flesh. The coloration and smell of this inflorescence is all adapted to attract its pollinators, which are carrion flies and other insects attracted to rotting flesh. It's also been observed that these inflorescents are able to produce and generate their own heat. The reason it does this is to distribute the foul and rancid smell of rotting flesh which it begins to emit. If I was to describe the smell of the Titanarum, I'd say it smells kind of meaty and sweet and just kind of icky. Let's ask a few other horticulturists what they think the Titanarum smells like.
On the first day when the inflorescence starts to develop and open, when the space opens, it starts smelling of rotten cucumbers.
It's really bad, and I can't liken it to much besides maybe something dying in the corner of the zone.
At full opening of the space, it actually smells of rotting meat carrion with a mixture of coconut. There is a sweetness in it. It smells truly disgusting.
Common names for this plant include the Titanarum or corpse flower. But the Latin name, Amorphophallus titanum, can be loosely translated as meaning ginormous, misshapen. There's a common misconception that this plant is actually carnivorous, and that's probably to do with the fact that it draws its pollinators in through looking a bit like rotting flesh. In fact, this plant just attracts flies and other carrion insects in order to carry out its pollination. In the wild, the Titanarum is found in the lowland tropical forests of Sumatra, one of the Indonesian islands. Those conditions are warm and humid, so we grow them in our tropical glasshouses at Kew to best replicate those conditions. Other plants that you might be more familiar with at home that are actually in the same family as the Titanarum are things like this anthurium or peace lilies. If you were to look beneath the ground, you'd find there was a large circular looking tuber. A tuber is actually stem tissue, and this contains lots of starchy carbohydrates which the plant will use for energy. Here's one here. You can see they're kind of knobbly, starch-filled, full of energy, and what will happen from this is when it gets planted into the ground and is given some water, it will start to actively produce roots. These tubers can eventually reach huge sizes and weights. They can easily reach the weight of a fully grown human adult. From a central bud, which then pushes out of the ground, you start to see something that is either going to be a leaf or a flower. When the plants are young, they produce leaves. These leaves grow and die back on a kind of annual basis. The plant that I'm holding here is actually a young Titanarum. So this will have a tuber beneath the ground, which will be quite small, and now it's sent all its energy into growing a leaf. And this leaf will have a growing season where it's gathering as much energy as it possibly can. With time, this leaf will begin to die back, and that energy is then drawn back into the large tuber in order to grow. Over many cycles of growth and dying down and growth and dying down, this plant's tuber will eventually get to a size where there's enough energy in order for it to produce an inflorescence. People often think that the leaf petioles of the Amorphophallus are woody, but in fact, they're actually quite soft and spongy. Underneath the epidermal layer, you've actually got a spongy kind of tissue, which is very strong and rigid, but is actually soft. As the plants grow, the tuber gets larger in size as they accumulate energy. And it's only once that tuber has enough energy reserves inside that the plant is able to produce an inflorescence. The inflorescence of the Titanarum is comprised of a spathe, which wraps around this columnar spadix. Nestled at the base of this large inflorescent structure are separate male and female flowers. The first phase of flowering is female, and the second phase is male. What you're looking at here is actually a Titanarum inflorescence which has gone over. So it's gone through its two phases, its first female phase and its second male phase. You can see that the females have this stigmatic surface, and this is where the pollen needs to be deposited in order for fruit and seeds to be produced. If you see this dimply surface above the female surface, these are actually the male flowers, and these start producing pollen on the second night. The pollen that's produced is this kind of stringy, filamentous texture, and it's this pollen that needs to be transported on the bodies of carrion-attracted insects onto another inflorescence in its first phase. And this first phase, the female flowers are receptive, and therefore, once that pollen gets deposited onto those surfaces, fruit begins to be produced. The fruit that then develops over time is a red or orange berry with a seed inside. In order to produce seeds here at Kew, we have to hand pollinate these plants. To make it easier, what we do is we cut a small window at the base of the flower in order to apply the pollen where you need to produce seeds. We collect the pollen from another individual, store it, and then apply it to the female flowers of this plant. If you look in this pot here, you can see a bud developing on this Amorphophallus. Now, when this happens in the nursery, there's often a big debate among the horticulturalists as to what it's going to be. In my opinion, this is going to be another leaf. Titanarums are considered to be endangered in the wild. Here at Kew, we grow around 40 plants, and it's this community of botanic gardens that play an important part in the conservation of the species. Thanks so much for watching and digging deeper into the Titanarum. Watch this space, I'm sure we'll have plenty more flowering in the future.
Thanks for watching this episode of Dig Deeper. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to learn more about the work that Kew does, visit our website for more information.